We're now going to hear from Gertrude Fefuome, who is a serving member of the UN Committee on Rights of Disabled People. She is chair of both the committee's working group on women and girls with disability and the committee's task force for developing a general comment about the right to work and employment, which comes under Article 27 of the Convention. She is also a global advocacy advisor on social inclusion for Sightsavers, president of the International Council for Education of People with Visual Impairment, and a board member of the Ghana Federation of Disability Organisations. Well, it's great to have you here, Gertrude. What led you to join the UN CRDP Committee, and what's it like being on the committee?
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you very much, Martha. Very interesting question. And I can also find it very, very energizing at the same time, listening to Tara and following what Tara said. The journey has been long. So the journey has been long, where I have been part before 1981. And 81, for instance, remarkable for me, as that was the time when we wanted to strengthen the voices of grassroots women and establish the Ghana Blind Women's Group. Moved on into working around human rights issues, considering the standard rules on equalization opportunities. I remember the several encounters with Ben Lindquist, discussing, analyzing, and getting ourselves empowered. Moving on to where I was part of looking at children's voices, when I was chairing the World Blind Union's Children's Committee. Moving on to where I was part of building capacity of organizations of persons with disabilities, so that we can have the voice, we can advocate, we can do the activism the way we need it. So coming from a grassroots society and a woman going through the spectrum of the journey, and also getting into the international arena, where I did not know only about myself, but I knew or know about other disability categories and situations of other people in different countries, because as you said, I work with Sightsavers. So that also gave me another platform. So a member of a grassroots organization, woman coming from Africa, then getting the engagement over the years. Some achievements, but some disappointments as we move on the journey. Then sitting back and looking at where are we and where else can we add value? Then the issue of being a member of the CRPD Committee came into force. Because also my local organization, the Ghana Federation of Disability Organization, has been talking about this. And it got embraced also by Sightsavers and so many other partners, and with my state support and collaboration, it came to be. How has it been there? One of my campaign messages then was women voices on the committee. In 2016, I stood for election to be a member of the committee, including the UK-owned Diane Kingston. There were only 3 women and none of us were elected. This left the committee with only 1 woman out of 18. And being an activist of women's voices from so many years back, I couldn't look to see this continuing. So then looking at Africa at that time, women from Africa were not getting onto the committee. So the need was even more for women globally, for women in Africa, for grassroots voices that has interaction and intervention with global world and international fronts. The time was just right. To learn in there, to continue the advocacy and the activism, to bring the voices to the fore, and to bring back, because I still have the platforms of organizations of persons with disabilities and partners. As I am there now, the regular committee work continues, but demonstrating what it is to be a woman from the grassroots. 2019, as I joined, I got to be a co-chair of a country as a rapporteur. Some people would take a bit more time, but I knew the way to learn, it has to be the quickest way. As I'm speaking now, I am a member of the CRPD. CRPD is the Convention on the Rights of the Child working group, so that we're looking at where we could strengthen the issues of the child with disability within the CRC work. I lead the task force and the committee on the general comment on work and employment. It is a matter for everybody, but it's a matter for women, and it is a matter from those of us from the developing countries even the more. Being able to understand and bring our voices continue to be important.
Thank
Recently,
you.
I'm
very sorry, Gertrude. Well. I'm going to have to move on to the next question.
Thank you.
That's really brilliant to hear. Thank you so much. If I move on to the next question, what advice would you give to deaf and disabled people's organisations in the UK as we start to prepare our next shadow report?
Thank you very much. As you know, and many of us might know, the CRPD Committee encourages participation in the reporting process. And this has been well illustrated by Tara, the only convention that really ensures this. So in fact, Article 3 of the CRPD anticipates the involvement of the consultation on civil society, particularly organizations of persons with disabilities. So it is critical that now that we're going to have a different form of the shadow report, because there has been a decision by the committee that 2014 onwards, any subsequent reports after the first one is not going to be full. So what UK is going to have is going to be responses of lists of issues. And it is critical that civil society organizations, particularly the deaf organization, is involved. We can build alliance with other organizations, but we can also submit a shadow report for the organization of the deaf. But I would recommend that what we put into the separate report, if we decide to do that, we should do well that it reflects if there's going to be a generic report too, so that it is even better strengthened. The consultation will need to be deepened, looking at the concluding observations of the previous one, gathering the information of how well or otherwise from sources like academia, justice, criminal justice institutions, media, count them. But it's also important that we are able to interview individuals with disability with a lived experience, because that is where it becomes most alive, so that we can bring our situation and issues into it. We need also to bring on board the impact of ongoing activities, programs, and disability-related issues from over the period. So for instance, UK led in the Global Disability Summit, made commitment. We need to bring them into the summary as well. There has also been voluntary national reviews of the SDGs. They're important for us to look at that as well. There is also the COVID and COVID impact of COVID, the recovery, response and recovery programs. How has the state engaged with us and we with them? And that part is also critical. So what I am illustrating is we use the traditional method of gathering information, but we also look at ongoing issues and events, deepen the voices of persons with disabilities, build alliances as they may be necessary, get into other civil society organizations, bring what we've gathered from CRC, CRPD, universal reviews and all, and get us a succinct shadow report that speaks to the issue. It's best that it's submitted before the list of issues. The list of issues is the questions that the rapporteur will be developing to the UK government. When this information arrives with the committee before then, is best useful. But even that, we should also make sure that we participate in the government response and make sure that our voices are still there. Thank you very much.